Extraordinary.
Larger than life.
Genuine.
Heart.
Insatiable.
Chill.
Charismatic.
Special.
Real.
Awesome.
Compassionate.
Rock star.
Sunshine.
Energetic.
Full of life.
Passion.
Handsome.
Magical.
Charming.
Loving.
Awesome.
Big brother.
Caring.
Fun, funny, and loyal.
Incredible.
We met in the fetuses of our mothers. Our mothers would play Maj around a table, and so Cy used to call me all the time and say, "Hey, how's my fetal friend doing?"
We grew up like brothers. We were, very tight when we were younger. We did, everything together. We were inseparable.
We actually met when he had made some comments to the girl that I was dating at the time. I approached him to basically scrap him. Something I think I knew right away, very quickly into that conversation. This was a guy that I actually would rather be friends with than fight.
I've known the guy since I was 5 years old. Family friends, and we just grew up together like brothers.
I met him, I think, when we were about 13 years old. I met him, my friend Simon Saruya took me over to his house on McNichol. It was the first time we met.
I met Cy in high school, but we, drifted apart. We reconnected at our friend Kara's wedding. It was a really special friendship, yeah.
He was loved by more people than anybody else I know. He was just able to connect with everybody.
It just really mattered to him to know how everyone was doing and what they were doing, get everybody together. He was sort of the guy that brought everybody together.
The relationship started off at Camp Northland, but I ended up being their roadie for their band Remedy.
At some point I met this girl and I found out that Cy had gone out with her, and then I just said, okay, you know what, out of courtesy, because I know the family, I'll call him, and he really respected the fact that I was like that, and because he was that type of person also who felt that it was important to respect others, and we connected and we're great friends ever since.
My first memory of Cy was Cy with a guitar. I went to see him at a couple of events, and he used to play in some of the bars that we used to go see as probably an 18, 19-year-old kid.
I think when he was like about 10, 11, when I first actually saw him at synagogue, and you knew that he hated being at shul.
Yeah, I remember this kid with puffy hair and a Kiss shirt, and I was a big Kiss fan too.
My earliest memory would probably be us at a circus with our mothers, and the elephants going out of control, and our mothers grabbing us by the back of the neck and pulling us out.
So I'm not sure if most of you know, but I helped fix Cy's teeth. But I remember I put it on with temporary cement because he was coming and going to Mexico a lot to do a lot of gigs, and I wanted to just make sure that everything was okay. I need to make sure that this bridge was on. It was always funny, every time he'd come to his dental appointments, he'd be hanging almost like doing a chin-up off of his bridge to make sure that it didn't come off.
Me and a couple of other guys one day drove to the Ottawa River, went whitewater rafting. He actually saved me. I was like already tipping into the water, and he just pulled me by my life jacket. I won't forget that.
And there was one particular night that him and Steve were over. It was about 2:30 in the morning, and I desperately wanted them to leave so I can go to sleep. They claimed they were starving, so I told them they could both pick one bagel each. And at the same time, I said, I'm going to take a picture and post it and ask somebody how I get rid of them. And I actually got a post back at 2:30 in the morning telling me that if I want to get rid of them, I shouldn't feed them. However, yeah, it was a little late for that since they were in the middle of eating the bagels. And this is the last picture we have of him because he left about 4 days after this picture was taken.
A bunch of us boys played ball hockey together, and sometimes in men's leagues there's fights and stuff that happen, but when there were fights, but there was never really a bench clearing brawl, except the one time that one guy on the other team tried to pick a fight with Cy, and that wasn't gonna happen, so.
We used to do a group camping trip with a bunch of guys. Cy was the guitar guy. Cy would bring the guitar, he would sing around the campfire.
We were at a Popeye's Chicken, which Cy used to love, along with his cousin Mark. Some girls started laughing, and I have a unique laugh, and Cy used to make fun of it all the time. And so I started laughing, and then the whole restaurant started laughing, and then when someone said, I'm about to choke on my chicken, and then Cy spit his food out across the room, laughing so hard.
One evening, he took my convertible, without permission, of course. And of course, as he was driving the car, which was in mint condition, the chain belt broke, and he had to be towed, and it cost him a lot of money. And then he phoned me and yelled at me that it was my fault that the chain belt broke, but on the other hand, I was very lucky. And the reason I was lucky was because I wasn't in the car on the Don Valley Parkway at 2:30 in the morning to have this break. And my answer was, I wouldn't have been on the Don Valley Parkway at 2:30 in the morning, so that wouldn't have happened.
Hell, I remember him saying like that time we did the air band and I was scared, and he said to me right before, and I'm pretty sure it was these words exactly, he's like, let's just go show him how cool we are. And I was always like, who is this dude?
Cy was a ladies' man.
In high school and stuff, in junior high, he was always sort of like a one-lady guy, and then I guess that changed. And then he was one guy with a lot of ladies.
But Cy was always, Cy was a doer in that way, you know? Cy wasn't wasting time.
A true rock star traveling the world. And most of his stories, they were so out there, but I knew he wasn't lying, and you know what? He just wanted to play and have fun, and that was Cy's entire life.
We love you, Uncle Cy.
Oh, he's a great uncle. I mean, I don't think you can ask for a better uncle. Basically, he was always there for you. I would say he was even more than an uncle to me. He was like almost like a second father or a big brother.
One of the things that he looked at in children was that they're innocent beings, and, you know, just every child is special regardless. And I felt that he really had that perspective, not even him having been a father himself. He really knew what fatherhood was about, and it's clearly evident by the connection that he had with his nieces and nephews who truly loved him and looked up to him like a parent.
His family always seemed to come first. We were always late for our own social activities because he had to spend time with the kids. He had to put them to bed. That was his priority.
I have this theory that he's not our uncle, he's sort of everybody's uncle. He's Uncle Cy, you know what I mean?
He was about 10 or 11 years old, and he, on his own, just started to love the guitar and asked me if I would allow him to take guitar lessons, and I said, of course.
I was about 7 or 8. I went over to his apartment. I remember he picked up this cool black Gibson Les Paul. I remember hitting just a big A power chord. He looked at me right in the face, and I said, oh my God, I know what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Cy was a dreamer. He always went for those long shot careers. Playing in Remedy, sometimes we played for thousands of people. Mostly it was clubs and bars, but we had some great gigs opening up for the likes of, you know, Goo Goo Dolls and Our Lady Peace, Bare Naked Ladies, Tragically Hip.
He loved it. He loved everything about performing. He loved the audience. He loved the feeling of it.
I don't think he understood how good he really was. I think he was frustrated. It's the toughest business around. Very few people make it, and he realized that. But he never gave up.
I know, we used to jam. We used to jam pretty much all the time. And I actually used to bring my friends over too. I'd tell them, you know, I got this uncle, he's unbelievable guitar, you gotta hear him play. And then obviously after the jam session, they look at me and go, dude, he was like the greatest guitar player I've ever heard ever. I go, yeah, dude, I know, that's my Uncle Cy.
Would you know my name? He had so many friends because he gave so much to all his friends.
He just was so genuine, and he talked from the heart, and he was very real.
Cy cared about you more than he cared about himself.
If anybody that he was involved with, he was involved in their lives.
He had, I guess, a gift for finding great people. You were lucky enough for him to consider you a friend. That's a compliment.
He just wanted to see everybody happy and get along.
Cy was the kind of guy that when you got to know Cy, he didn't just get to know you, he got to know your whole family.
You know, he genuinely liked you. He made people feel special. He made people feel like he cared about, really, you know, when people say, hi, how are you? No, Cy really wanted to know.
There's probably 50 guys here that will say, Cy was one of my best friends.
I think Sai's greatest legacy was that he was able to connect to so many people.
His music, for sure. I think this Sick Kids Fund is another one. And I definitely think his nieces and nephews, who he mentioned several thousand million times to me, that he loved very much.
Very few people leave something behind, you know, that people can appreciate and enjoy long after we're gone from this place, and Sai was one of those few that did.
Nobody hated him. The guy, he didn't have an enemy, you know, and it didn't matter what type of group you were in. I mean, he could fit into any group or any situation.
I'd like to think that his legacy is his nephew Justin, because I know that he was, I think, very excited to teach Justin all the things he could when Justin was so young.
I don't think anybody's ever seen that many people show up at a funeral home before. Like, he technically sold out his last show. He went out with a bang, you know. He was a rock star the entire time, and he just didn't know it.
Sai just encouraged love, and he gave love, and very subtly too, because he used humor to bring a lot of things out.
He always looked for the best in other people and felt that it was always important to give people the opportunity to do good and get better at what they could get better at.
What's happening for the kids at Sick Kids and what have you, that's going to be one of his greatest legacies, is that, you know, he was able to give without being here to give.
And I think he would be happy and proud that so many people came out.
One of the things about Sai is he didn't always appreciate how much people liked him and how much people valued him.
I think he'd be really proud that in his name, all of his loved ones and family and friends are all getting together and taking a night to enjoy themselves and celebrate him and celebrate him.
I think he would be so proud of us. I think he would just, his whole heart would fill up with love.
A charity for music and children, you can't find anything, you know, of a better match for him. And I think he'd be happy to know that so many people care about him and love him.
I really miss him, but I still have him because he's given me so much.
We miss him very much.